Hello, my name is acbtheman, and welcome to episode 10 of Radio Epic. So, there's not a lot to talk about this week, but we do have bnelly with us. How are you doing this week, bnelly? Excuse me.
I'm doing good.
Alright, and we also have PhD Shenanigans. Doc, what's up?
Not much. How about you?
Oh, well, nothing much. Just actually been playing some Halo with bnelly this weekend. But anyways, so have y'all really been playing a lot of Destiny this weekend? Before we jump into anything else, like I just said, I've been playing a lot of Halo. Have y'all been playing a lot of Destiny? Or y'all just, I don't know, I'm almost too hyped for the beta. I'm not playing a ton of Destiny. What about y'all?
I'm not really playing Destiny a whole lot. It's mostly been Halo or Titanfall 2 or something else.
I've mostly been trying to work through my checklist for games, getting a bunch of achievements done and all that.
I just didn't want to be, I know I was playing a little bit with bnelly this week, I just didn't want to absolutely be the odd man out here. But anyways, so we don't really have a lot to look at this week. We're basically going to be talking about Bungie's weekly update. Now, Bungie's weekly update is awesome because it's called A Monument to All Your Wins. It's a very, very nice Halo reference. But they start off in talking about how we are going to have these in-game things that are going to show how we played in Destiny 1. They said there's going to be some things in-game they don't want to tell us, but they just essentially in here say, oh, here's a bunch of emblems. Now, the emblems themselves are cool. In order to get them, you had to have played in certain time frames. Just like the Age of Triumph record book stuff, you couldn't get all of them if you started after the beginning of Destiny 1. You can't get all these emblems unless you started like right at the beginning of Destiny 1, but you can get one or two of these emblems. They're like, do something, complete an Age of Triumph, or complete a moment of triumph in year 1, complete all the moments of triumph in year 1. What else were they? What else were they? They were like, complete moments of triumph in year 2, play during Rise of Iron, hit rank 2 in the record book, hit rank 7, and then achieve a Grimoire score over 5,000. Is this enough, really? Guys, do you think, to satisfy us? I mean, the stuff that they have in-game has to be amazing after this, correct?
I would hope so. The emblems are something, but it's just, it's a little bit of flair that you're definitely going to replace with something else that you're going to actually get doing something in Destiny 2 later on.
Yeah, you'll switch back to it maybe, but I don't know. I guess there's a lot of talk to say, hey, here's something cool you probably won't ever use. Now, they do say that they're going to have some stuff in the game that they don't want to tell us about, so maybe there'll be something cool, but I'm really hoping it's not just a ship or something else. I don't know. It's nice that they're going back and saying, hey, look, you played Destiny 1, but these emblems I could honestly give 2 cares about.
Yeah, I think what I'm excited about the most, actually, is in their screenshot, you can see the glimmer that he has is up over 25,000. It's about the most exciting thing for me in this weekly update.
That's probably true, but you got to take that with a grain of salt. They said all the levels and everything you see is just placeholders. And if you notice, the glimmer is 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, so it could just be placeholder. But I really hope it's over the 25,000. Especially because I like to dismantle a lot of stuff. I generally have a lot of it, but every once in a while you glimmer pour and just...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really super excited about the emblems. It's not really going to get me to want to do anything right now. But I'd get them if they looked pretty cool, though. Like, I was just looking at them and not really, like, super partial to any of them. They seem kind of paltry in comparison.
Well, they look essentially like everything from Destiny 1 already, except the very last one. And granted, we did want something saying we did play Destiny 1, and so these look like Destiny 1 stuff, but they're almost a little bit too on the nose for me. I don't know. I'm probably just going to wear the Lore Scholar one because I do happen to have over 5,000 Grimoire, but I'll wear it for a little bit, like you said, and I'll find something cooler and wear that one.
True story.
Okay, so I'm not going to read them all off, but on here, you have until August 1st to reach rank 7 and unlock the discount offered for your Age of Triumph shirt, you essentially have until August 1st to lock in your essentially your character. What they're going to do is like pull over your character to Destiny 2, and what that means is all of your account stuff for those emblems and everything that you did in Destiny 1 is essentially going to freeze on August 1st. So August 1st is kind of the last big date. There are a couple other dates in here about Iron Banner and about weekly featured raids and stuff like that, which you would need to go to the Bungie.net page and pay attention to, because some of them will be the last time you have a chance to get them for the Age of Triumph record book. But they're saying that essentially when Destiny 2 starts, you'll still be able to go do the weekly featured activities. You'll still be able to go see Xur and all that kind of stuff. But just be aware of August 1st for this is the last day to lock everything in. August 1st is also the final Iron Banner week. And August 11th is the last Trials of Osiris for Destiny 1. So that's actually kind of encouraging to me, because it's not that far away. I know we still want the game and we still have a beta to play. It's not that far away, but just be aware. Get all your stuff done before August 1st.
It's kind of like the hard cutoff date for doing some of the whole, final game, and just like that's the point where you're like, okay, I've done everything in Destiny I can, or Destiny 1 I can, now I'll wait for Destiny 2 to come out.
Well, and you just be aware that we're not going to say them all, but for example, July 4th is the last week of King's Fall featured raid. So if you haven't beat it on the 390 version, that is your last week to do that. So just be aware that we're coming up to some of the last times to complete this stuff. It's nice that we're seeing the end and looking forward to something new. So I have a little bit of sarcasm with this last one. But if you were looking to get your hands, if you're an Xbox player, on a Jade Rabbit, to get your hands on the Zen Meteor, to get your hands on the PlayStation exclusive stuff, look no further than October 2017. You heard it right. You will get the PlayStation exclusives for Destiny 1 and Destiny 1 after the PC version of Destiny 2 has released. So, yay. I'm going to turn... I already ranted a ton last week on this. I'm going to turn my Xbox on... I'm going to turn Destiny 1 on for one day. I'm going to go play that strike, and I'm going to say, yay. I'm going to turn it off and not touch it until a later date. That's... Technically, they aren't lying. Technically, they said the Xbox players will get this stuff. At this point, it's like I'm never going to play with those exotics or play with the strike or any of that gear or anything. It's almost better for them not to give it to me. They're giving it to me after both Destiny 2 has released on consoles and after Destiny 2 has released on the PC. And then it's okay for me to have... Sorry. I'm going to get too much into a rant if we do that. But hey, it's there.
I'm not even going to do it. Destiny 1 is going to be, off my hard drive of my Xbox at that point, and I probably won't even go back to it.
I'm right there with you on that. No interest in even touching it, really.
Well, like I said, I want to play the strike. I want to see what it is. I know I've seen videos. I just want to experience it once. But, yeah, I don't know. That's another topic. We're not going to get on this. They're going to have some downtime. Hopefully this podcast will come out on the 27th of June. But if it doesn't, they had some downtime on the 27th of June. Just to be aware of that, because they're getting ready for the beta. The one thing that I'm kind of worried about the beta for, if y'all look on the This Week at Bungie, they're implementing the server queue. And I understand that the Destiny 2 beta is more anticipated than the Destiny 1 beta was. And I never had an issue logging into the Destiny 1 beta at all. They say if the population gets too big, you will hit a queue. And I understand they're not using all of their servers for Destiny 2 yet. They only have a set amount set up. But there's a chance that you will not be able to log on to the beta. Now, I'm expecting that to happen when the open beta starts, so definitely go grab a pre-order so you can play it early. But there might be a time where you try to play that beta and it's locked up and you have to wait.
That'd be a pretty huge bummer.
Would y'all remember the beginning of Rise of Iron?
Yes.
No.
Okay, beginning of Rise of Iron from when it launched like at 2 a.m. at their reset time or whatever. But
6
when it
freaking
launched,
hours waiting in that queue,
yeah,
and I finally got in.
yeah. So I mean, they had the huge queue, and content creators were griping about it. Normal people were griping about it. Everybody was griping that there was this queue, and it lasted 6 hours. That was it. But
And you'd get kicked out periodically, too.
well, this gives a little bit more hope. This says you shouldn't be kicked out as long as you're logged in, as long as you connect. You shouldn't be kicked out. But this gives some hope, or no, this gives some kind of worry for me that from like the 21st to the 23rd, I'm not going to be able to play as much as I want. Now, they're probably going to get some kinks worked out, but there's a chance that on that 21st, you won't be able to play pretty much at all. So just be aware. Just, it's going to happen. You're going to hit a queue. They're telling us in advance. Just be aware of that, people.
Yeah, they need to make a good note of that somewhere in their social media so that it's up front and center. Is that I didn't even notice it in my first read through of the update.
Oh, it hit me immediately because of like they're going to get so much salt from that. From most people that are griping about the game as it is, and they want to get their hands on it to gripe some more, they're going to get a chance to. But one thing you do need to do, go follow @BungieHelp on Twitter, and they will post out everything about any server queues or anything like that. So just be aware of that. Let me see. I think next is the Renator Jake is the Bungie bounty. Yay. I think that actually happened today, so never mind.
Yeah,
Ignore
that's
that.
already over.
And then some other videos. So, I mean, it's very short. This Week at Bungie, and why are we talking about the This Week at Bungie on a podcast? Well, there's literally been no other news this week, except for one statement. I don't know where it was. It was an interview from Luke Smith, of all people, talking about characters in Destiny 2. Essentially, he's giving excuses for some of the characters from Destiny 1 that won't show up. It's a quote something like, some of the characters will come in and be a more prominent role. Some of the characters won't come in at all. Some of the characters may come later and then be able to explain why they weren't there. So, he's essentially saying that Destiny 2 is going to be its own little contained thing. It's going to have a story about these specific characters. And granted, if you make more comparisons to Halo, and I've been playing a lot of Halo this last week, but Halo has a set story. They have this extended lore, and a lot of it has been fleshed out in books and stuff. But they have this extended lore of the Forerunners and the Forerunner Human War and all this kind of stuff. But the game Bungie set up from Halo 1 through 3 and even Halo Reach, the game you're on, you're focused on like your character and then maybe 2 or 3 characters around you. This Destiny 2 sounds a lot like that, and they're sort of making an excuse of why you may not see some of those extended lore characters right now, which I guess is okay with me because it seems cool, but I still don't like this talk of there's these prominent things from Destiny 1 that you want information about, but we're not going to give it to you because we don't want to, is what it sounds like to me.
I guess it also depends on what they decide to do with the story and how that plays out. I mean, it could just be a reaction to the Cabal attack. It could be, any number of things related to. It depends on the character, I guess. But I mean, there could be a number of things. The characters, what they do, how they come out. I mean, I don't know. I guess I guess I don't really want to speculate too much, because I could be overcritical of how the story turns out or anything like that. But, I mean, I just kind of want to see how they play out with everything, with characters, and I guess is my viewpoint on anything like that.
Well, and don't get me wrong, they could always bring back characters in DLCs or future updates or future expansions. But to me, I don't know. The message to me seems a little bit skewed. Instead of saying, to me personally, and I know this is nitpicking, I would have rather heard some of your characters aren't going to be talked about now, but we are looking for ways to tell their story later. They said that, but they literally said, "Yep, someone ain't gonna be there. Someone gonna be there. Too bad if they ain't there." It just seems so. I guess the biggest thing the biggest thing I'm complaining about, the Exo Stranger was pretty much the only story thing in the vanilla. She came in and said, "Hey, I'm here. Go look at the Vex," and you're like, "Oh, okay, the Vex," and that's what started the raid, the Vault of Glass. And this character, they're not even going to bring back. They said they like her story is done, and maybe they'll come back and bring her back later. But that main character right there was pretty much the only driving force in a game that had very, very little actual story. And granted, it was playable, and they added a ton of stuff. Taken King was awesome. Rise of Iron was awesome. All the extras were awesome, but I don't know. It just seems, and I know they want to focus on this story, and like I said, going back to the Halo style of storytelling is going to be very fantastic. We're going to enjoy the story we get. But hopefully one of those expansions in Destiny 2 is some of those characters, or are some of those characters that we've got questions about.
Well, the Exo Stranger to me is a particular case because if I remember correctly, I heard somewhere that they said that they like scrapped Destiny, like the original Destiny story, and had to like come up with a new one within like a small time frame or something like that. I don't remember if that's true or not, but maybe, not saying it's true, but maybe that was part of their ill-fated attempt to redo their story. Maybe having the Exo Stranger could have been something they saw as expendable to maybe they could either flesh out later if they so choose, or just left it alone at the end of the game, like at the end of the vanilla game.
No, that's understandable. I get it, but even if that's something they had originally, and it's not fitting quite in their story now, or it's something they added on when they had to change everything about it. They've had this time to come up with something for the Exo Stranger, and for them to say the Exo Stranger's done, or for them to say we aren't even going to talk about the Exo Stranger. I mean, do something with it, even if it's lame. Say, oh no, it's not an Exo Stranger, it's just some random Exo who's getting like power from outside the light. Something like the Taken King subclasses technically are not provided by the Traveler. You gain these through outside experiences. They have a group of Titans forging something. That's why they have the hammers. You have the Warlock who gathers lightning itself from the sky and sort of makes it and yes, the Traveler's Light helps sort of make these more powerful, but just say something like that. It's just this creation outside of the light, outside of humanity. Just something, even a small side mission or something. But for them to say like, no, we're not even going to think about that stuff. I don't know. It it I'm liking what they're going for Destiny 2. Don't get me wrong. It's a condensed story. It's going to be more focused. We are going to thoroughly enjoy the level of story that we are presented immediately, and for things to scan, and for things to learn about in the world. But it's almost invalidating a lot of Destiny 1 style stuff. And don't get me wrong, I do not want the Grimoire online. I'd rather have Grimoire in game or something like that. But we're losing a lot of this. To me, we're losing a lot of this aspect of the universe that they're creating by narrowing it down. And so, I know we can't have both. We can't have a narrowed story and an expanded universe, and that's why we're gonna have the like DLCs and stuff. And maybe they'll have more DLCs or more expansions, so we can have more stories like that. But I want some of those Destiny 1 questions answered, and they're not doing it. And it's a complaint of mine. But don't get me wrong, I'm thoroughly looking forward to a Halo-style story where we get one story, one set of missions to do. And so, I'm looking forward to the story, don't get me wrong. I just wish they would bring some of that talked about stuff up.
Yeah, and it could just be as simple as they don't know where to go with it.
I know, but they've had 3 years. Whatever. Granted, they are making a fantastic game. They made a fantastic game. And, I probably would put something out that people wouldn't like, and they've probably, honestly, they have so many employees. They probably had someone come and say, "Hey, what if the extra stranger was this?" And they don't have something that works out for that. I just,
There's a whole host of reasons, but if they've already said that they're not even gonna do anything more with it, I very unlikely think that anything will actually come out of it. Even if it's just speculation or theories or anything, I don't see much more coming out of that story arc part.
well, and some things are, just not meant to be known. Playing back through Halo 1, how does Sergeant Johnson get off the first Halo? Nobody knows. There's speculation. It may be hinted at in a book or two, but you don't really know that. So I understand that there are things in the story we're not going to know at all, and it's just speculation. But a couple things in Destiny 1, though, just seem a little bit too big to leave open like that. But anyways, I'm going to stop complaining about that because looking forward to the Destiny 2 story, it just seems like it's going to be a lot more personal. I'm going to look forward to playing it more. And honestly, I'm going to look forward to sharing it with more people than, just in Destiny 1. I know I'm a smaller YouTuber, but I had no care to record my gameplay of the missions themselves and say, "Hey, look at me playing this mission." I have a feeling in Destiny 2 I will want to do that a little bit more because it's going to be such a story-driven game. And so, while I complain, I'm more excited than complain.
Something interesting today about story was talking about, in Destiny 2 we hint at, or we're told that we're gonna lose our light and we have to re-find it. Something, I think it was a theory or something somebody had was, that the Cabal, in Destiny 1 that attacked the Dreadnought were looking, like they had some intel or something that said that the Hive knew how to take away our light. And the Cabal basically were trying to to find out what, had happened. So they were trying to get that intel from them. And supposedly, what they speculated is that, maybe they found it on the Dreadnought. Maybe they had it, they sent it back to Gaul or Gary or, or they somehow left the ship, obviously in game that doesn't happen, but, there was speculation about it, and so I think that would be interesting to know is if that was kind of the case or, kind of just more, maybe a little bit more behind it, if that's even, sound speculation.
Well, we don't know what the message was, but we play a mission later on. It's like at the end of a quest line, too. We play a mission where they sent a distress signal out saying all of the leaders in this solar system are dead. Send help. And so we don't know exactly what that it says. So you could very well do that. And maybe they find something that the Hive didn't know how to use, or the Hive had an idea of how to do it. It's an idea, and
I just thought it was an interesting theory.
it's an interesting theory. But I'm looking forward to see how either we get our light back if we do wind up saving the traveler, or if it's one of those the light has been inside of you at all since the beginning. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but we're going to get it back relatively fast because one of the cutscenes, what was it? Zavala said, "If you can get the light back, maybe I can," or something like that.
Yeah, but we don't know how far.
You just have to share it through the power of friendship.
Yeah, I really don't want to play a mission though, and it could be. that I really don't want to play a mission where it's like you have nothing, you have your gun, which would get new players used to shooting. It'd be like a tutorial mission where it's like you ain't got no grenade, you ain't got no jump, you have a single jump and you have a gun, go shoot them. You know.
Like the very first mission of the Destiny 1 is that way.
Well, that's because the very first mission of Destiny 1, but that's because you were just resurrected.
I mean, essentially, that's kind of what's happening again. Essentially. Not the whole being dead part, but you're having to find your light again, which is kind of something we had to do to start with. So, I mean, it could play out very similar, you know, where you have to, like, get the experience and stuff to level up and get your stuff back. Could be a story mode mission that you do, but I mean, I can foresee it being like a mission or two before we get our light back.
Yeah, I guess that's all right. I mean, it's not gonna be terrible. I dislike the sequels, and Destiny 2 is not gonna be like this because you're gonna be able to get your equipment back and your light back faster. But I dislike the sequels that are like, wow, you're awesome and powerful. Now let's take everything away. And I understand from a gameplay side you have to do that, but it just I don't know.
You know,
I'll get over it.
Banjo-Kazooie into Banjo-Tooie. That game did it right. If I remember correctly, in Banjo-Tooie, you can actually, you have all the skills you learned in the previous game to start with, and then you learn new ones, I think. I think that was the case. But I know there's at least one game that I know of. I think it's the Banjo-Kazooie line that did that.
Well, and we're gonna get our light back fairly soon, fairly quickly. I mean, we're gonna get some of it back. We're gonna get new subclasses. We're gonna get old, revamped. I mean, so we're getting it back. Don't get me wrong. That's just one thing I'm not looking very forward to. But it's only gonna be a mission or two, so I can get over it very quickly. I don't know. I'm just excited to play, and I can't wait to play the beta. What are we at for the beta? Like 20 days, 24 days, something like that.
Just about, yeah.
18, 22 days, something like that. I don't know. I'll double check it later, but it's coming up very, very close. By the way, make sure you have pre-ordered Destiny 2. If you pre-order through your console, you should be automatically good to go. You'll have the license bought early, and so they'll be able to see that when you try to download the beta. But if not, go to your favorite retailer. I'm gonna go to GameStop sometime in the next week, spend $5, give me a pre-order code, and so just make sure you get it done before the is it 18th for is 17th or 18th for PlayStation? I can't remember.
18th PlayStation and 19th for Xbox.
Yeah, so if you're on PlayStation, make sure you get it done before the 18th, before the 19th for Xbox. And then the PC is supposed to have a beta later on in August before the console edition ever launches. And so that's going to be nice. But if you're on console, make sure you get it done within the next week or so you can play the maximum amount of days, especially if you don't want to get hit by that server queue. Well, guys, I think that's going to be about it for this week. Is there anything else y'all want to talk about before we end it? I think we're stretching pretty thin for this week's content about Destiny.
No, I'm good.
Pretty quiet week.
Alright, guys, well, thank you once again. I would like to say once again, if you're listening to this and would like to be part of our group, go to the100.com/groups/1412, search group 1412 on the 100, or search Clan Epic on the 100 on Reddit. You can find it on YouTube sometimes. You probably will wind up hitting my videos if you go to YouTube. But just Clan Epic, come join us. We'd like to have you. One word of caution, though. I got hit up by a younger listener. While we might accept some of our younger listeners, if you're like 12 or 13, we like you. We're going to play with you. Don't get me wrong. Most of the people on Epic are in their 30s. Some of us are very young. Some of us are very older. I think we have a guy who is in his mid-50s. We have people with grandchildren. We have people who are grandchildren. Beware, though, if you are one of the very younger viewers, you may not get in, but that's just because you're a little bit younger. But we will help you with raids. We will help you with stuff in Destiny. We'll help you find a clan of your own that's maybe near your own age. But because most of our people are around 30, try to be a little bit older, but search for our group. And if you're essentially 18 or older, we can have a fantastic time playing this game.
Maturity necessary.
Well, okay.
With a grain of salt.
Before we finish.
With a grain of salt.
Before we finish. Okay. Maturity necessary in the fact of being nice, being respectful of your fellow gamer, being respectful of other gamers. We do have fun. We are inappropriate. We do make inappropriate jokes. We do laugh. We do have a good time. The maturity we're talking about, if you go to the Epic page, you'll hear about this. Maturity we're talking about is you need to be a chill person. Are there times you're going to get salty? Yes. But if somebody has a slightly different opinion than you, you can voice it to some of our group members, but don't make that an outward face of yourself. If all you're doing is being negative, then you're not a fit for our group. That's all it is. Just be nice. You don't have to be positive. Just be nice.